Hello, everybody. Okay, so I just, I wanted to get on here because, the other day I was jamming about the eclipses, right? And so we are in eclipse season. I have done a whole explanation of actually what eclipses are, what they mean for the collective, meaning for everybody, and why they are so powerful, and what actually happens during eclipse season. And so I have a whole video on that I will be sharing. I will link that here in the comments if you want to look at that. But there is, and so this is what I see all the time. It's something that I can literally over and over and over again, time my watch to it, is, people will frequently reach out to me when, it's eclipse season, because everybody can feel it, right? It's a lot of times radically destabilizes people. And so then people are like, oh, what's going on? Da 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 da. And so, there's a lot of heightened energy. And so, so that's happening right now, right? And so usually at the time of the eclipse, within 3 days before and in 3 days after is when we have a heightened experience of something. We have this sudden flash awareness of something that we didn't see before. And that is why it's radically destabilizing, meaning it's something that it was unconscious, and it shows up in a magnified, huge way that then we're like, oh shit, whoa, I didn't realize that all of this was happening underneath the surface. And so what most people do is they pay attention for those 3 days, and they seek out some relief, right then and there, because it's their nervous system is all fired up. So they're like, oh, let me just try to get some relief. But then they go back to life as usual. They go back to life as normal. Hello, what's going on, beautiful? How are you? Crystal is in the house. I'm just jamming about the eclipses right now, and but I'm also going to start talking about the Venus retrograde, because this is, something that's, even more amplifying and more magnifying the energies that are happening right now. So that is the pattern, is that, people, they want relief. They're like, oh, right. But they, and whether they, they actually get their relief, what is very common is for people to go back to their ways of always doing things, right? Instead, what the eclipses serve for us to do is they are destiny portals. They're destiny portals. And so one of two things is very common, and actually you can have both, happen during these eclipse portals. Is number one, all of your psychological, shadowy shit stuff will come up to the surface for you to see it, right? And what this can do is this will either take you out, where it's you're scrambling to deal with the shadow, right? And then you get distracted from actually where the opportunity of radically aligning you with your destiny. That's what these eclipses are really about, is they're going to show you, if you've got some shadowy stuff that's that you really haven't been seeing, and that's been operating slowly under the surface, it's going to show you so that you can address it and very quickly realign with your destiny. Okay? And so what's very common is for, if you really haven't been doing your work, if you've been kind of you haven't been leaning in, to where expansion is available, or you haven't been really leaning in to, into the shadows. What can happen is then, so you're dealing with the shadow, you're so radically destabilized that then it's like you experience a failure, or you experience the wind getting knocked out of you, or you experience this distraction, that then it's like you're spending all of this time trying to get back up, right? You're spending all of this time just like trying to maintain your bearings, right? And so the value of understanding about astrology, understanding about the events, being aware of what's happening, right? To dig your well before you're thirsty, right? And so let me give you an example. So at the last eclipse, I was hit by a car on my bicycle, okay? I knew that this was eclipse season. And because something did happen to me, right, that was a part of a more underlying pattern, I already knew that something was coming. So when I got that experience, when I, that was my unconscious reality, right, coming up to the surface for me to see it, I had so much more ability to adapt to the situation and really be able to see, oh, this is what this means. This is how I need to radically align with my destiny so that I'm not like scrambling, trying to adapt to being blindsided in this way, And so, whether or not something happens in an unconscious way, so that's the one thing that can happen. The other thing that can happen, and this more likely happens the more that you truly are in alignment, already living up to your highest potential, already leaning in and going in and all of these things, right? Is that you will experience opportunities, people suddenly coming into your life that are really highly aligning you with your, with where you're meant to go, with your soul fractals, meaning the people that you're meant to dance with, and, and then start creating, this your destiny with people, right? And so both of these things can be happening at the same time. And you could have just one of them happening, or the other happening, or you can experience both, right? And so this is just one of the energies that's happening right now. But then to add a whole nother layer on top of this, we've got Venus about to go retrograde, okay? Venus is the love goddess. She's all about our relationships. She's about our self-worth. She is about our creativity, how we actually renew ourselves, how we regenerate ourselves. She's also about the beauty that we experience in life, what we value. And Venus is, and she's in the sign of Capricorn. And where this whole retrograde is happening is in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is all about your foundations. Capricorn is about your roots, right? So, and why this is so important right now, and I'm going to speak a little bit more about, about that. But, there's no denying it, right? We are in a time of massive change in our world. Unprecedented change in our world. The systems of power and tyranny that have been operating are literally crumbling. And this is actually what Capricorn represents. Capricorn in its shadow are the systems of power and control, the people that are high up, that control a lot of the wealth and resources and power, and they do that to keep other people down, and so those systems are crumbling right now. And so also, though, what Capricorn, like we were speaking about, represents is it's also about the past civilizations. Okay, and so right now what we're seeing a lot of people doing is they're reaching back in time. We're reaching collectively, people are reaching back deep into lineages past to find something solid that they can bring into the now, to find stability and security while there's so much change happening. So a lot of people are reaching towards like a lot of the old, like, Stoicism and the times of Atlantis and Lemuria, ancient, classical texts such as the I Ching, astrology, Chinese medicine, right? These are systems that are very, very old. Chinese medicine is built upon the I Ching. It's an ancient language that is actually, it's about DNA. Before we even knew about DNA, the I Ching is actually the 64 hexagrams is the 64 strands of the DNA. It's not a coincidence. It was an ancient divinization. It is an ancient divination system that now, we have human design and we have gene keys that is, which is a modern interpretation of that. And so more and more we're reawakening to these systems that we can draw upon now for security and for foundation to build the new earth, the new paradigms that we're here to create. Because a lot of people, Aquarius, the Aquarian age and Aquarian energy, we think is about breaking down and being a rebel. And it is. It is very much about rebellious energy, and it's about breaking down and revolution. But also, what Aquarian energy is about, it's about building the new laws and the rules. Aquarian energy is just as much, because it's ruled by Saturn, it's just as much about building the new systems and the new laws as it is about breaking down the old ones that limit personal self-expression, sovereignty, and freedom, okay? And so what's happening with Venus having this retrograde in the sign of Capricorn is that we're here to start infusing love into these new foundations, because that's what Venus is about, right? It's about getting super clear about, what do I value? What has heart? What has meaning for me, right? And infusing that into the new foundations. But what's also happening is, not only is it just Venus and Capricorn, we've got Pluto there, the god of the underworld, as well as Mars, okay? So this is something that is incredibly rare. This hasn't happened in, and I choose to remember how many hundreds of years where this particular cycle of Venus being retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, it's unprecedented, because Pluto and Mars have never been there. Pluto and Mars, by the way, Pluto is the higher octave of Mars, Mars being the divine masculine. And this is all happening in the sign of Capricorn, which is about the patriarchy. So it's a radical transformation happening, not only with the divine feminine, meaning, our heart and our love and what it is that we desire, but also our will, right? And how we lead ourselves towards giving, because Mars exists purely to satisfy the feminine. That's what men do. Men are here to fill the holes of women. It's anatomy, it's fucking biology, but when you look at things very simply like that, and you understand the roles of yin and yang, that's the purpose of the masculine. But there's all of this cleansing and, and stripping away of our relationship to power and our relationship to the masculine energy, and how the masculine and the feminine energy interact with each other, and polarity, the dance of the masculine and the feminine together. And there's a lot of fucking confusion happening nowadays. A lot of, we see this with gender, bending expressions and this is because there's a lot of misinformation, and there's a lot of confusion happening. And so you get to write your own rules, the beauty of, we learn the basics, you learn the foundations of anything first. But you have to learn those foundations first, the laws of nature. Okay, nature is the best example of the fact that, the cosmos was designed and built in perfect harmony. So when we start observing the laws of nature, and these are the things that are written into the I Ching. These things are that is written into Chinese medicine, into astrology, into all of these ancient cosmologies. When we understand the basics, then we can rewrite our own rules. But what's happening a lot is people are just trying to make up their own rules. They're just trying to oh, this is how it's done, right? Without actually integrating the information first, right? And so it's you have to learn the basics and the foundation first and really get that in your body. It has to awaken inside of your body to embody the information, to take the time to integrate these things. And then once it has a resonance inside of your body, only then, right, can you articulate it? Can you start expressing and writing the new rules because you're having mastery of it in your own life, okay? And that's actually what Capricorn represents. The highest manifestation of Capricorn is the initiate. It is the mastery via integrity. Integrity meaning that you are walking your talk, meaning that you know what you're talking about because of your lived experience, because of your mastery of something. And so here's where I see a lot of people get tripped up with this Capricorn energy. Is that, and this is what the Venus retrograde actually represents, right? And for those of you who are interested in the sacred mysteries of Venus and Inanna, the ancient Sumerian text, which is actually the very first, one of the very first myths that is very similar, there's uncanny similarities to the story of Christ, to the story of Jesus, okay? That death and rebirth of being on the tree and the whole resurrection story. It actually began as the Inanna myth. So if you guys have interest in that, I will post a link in here where you guys can watch that in my group. I did a free masterclass in my private group, the Mother Loveship. So, and this is actually the basis of what we're going to be going into very, very deeply in my program, Unicorn Legacy, that starts January 6th, working with the Venus retrograde cycle as well as the Mercury retrograde cycle, okay? So, but I will talk about that more later, is that we love when things are going great, right? It's it's so easy for us when things are going great and we're experiencing success and and it's right? But what most people aren't so great at, right, is going down. It's when things are going great, we feel like we're on top of the world. But what happens when the rug gets pulled underneath you? What happens when you get a flash awareness of something that totally rocks your world and you're like, whoa, I wasn't fucking expecting that? What happens when you get knocked down? What happens when there's real tragedy in your life? And I mean, this is what we're all experiencing now in different levels. This is what Capricorn actually represents. It's the leader in the darkness. It's who do you go to and what do you stand upon? What can you actually trust when the shit hits the fan? When something happens and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. How comfortable are you with being in the unknown? Or do you freak out and get frantic and start, right? It's Capricorn energy is the wisdom. It's the energy of being so deeply rooted and connected to your trust in yourself and in nature, that no matter what else is going on in the storm, in the external storm that's happening, that I am solid because I am rooted into something so much more ancient and so much more deep. That's Capricorn energy. And so what's happening right now is Venus is descending. This is the fall. It's a conscious choice and a conscious decision to go back down, to reclaim the dreams and the memories of our ancestors, of a time when, life was different, the times of Atlantis, the times of Lemuria, the star seeds, all of these different things. This is what Capricorn energy is, that mergoat energy. And we're going down to connect with the morphogenic fields, in the Matrix, where Morpheus comes from, that name Morpheus is the Matrix, that's the morphogenic field. It's this black hole that we can always connect to anticipate what's going to happen next. We know it's prophecy. When we connect to the morphogenic field, not only are we able to anticipate what's going to happen next, we connect with our dreams to create what's going to happen next by being an active participant in the change. But in order to do that, we have to be able to be comfortable with the descent just as much as we are with the ascent. And so Venus's cycle is an 18-month cycle. The Venus star that is happening and beginning January 7th, that's the exact date of the Venus star, is a new seed that's being planted in the fields, in the energetic field of wherever you have Capricorn in your chart. And so after that point, for the next 9 months, it's a full gestational cycle. What's going to be happening is Venus will be descending down the chakra tree. She's going to be releasing all of these different, and it represents the different gates of our chakras, and releasing the crown, the ajna, the earrings of perception, the necklace of communication, the breastplate of compassion, the solar plexus, the girdle of power in the solar plexus, the anklets of creativity, and the red robe of manifestation. And in that process, what she's doing is she's purifying and releasing these. It basically represents a total release of your identity, of who you know yourself to be. And in doing that, you're doing that in order to reclaim and remember parts of yourself that you've never experienced before. You reclaiming totality in a way that you've never done that before. So this is really huge, and this is a big reason why, yes, there's this eclipse energy happening, but it's not just the eclipse. It's also the Venus retrograde cycle that's happening. And so Venus is sweeping through this area. Normally Venus moves through one sign in the zodiac in a little bit less than a month. But because of this retrograde happening, Venus is sweeping through the sign of Capricorn. She's doing this makeover, where she's radically transforming and renewing and regenerating this area of your life. So where do you have Capricorn? Look at your chart. As you start looking at, oh, this is where this is happening in my life. And so for the next 3 months, this energy is really, it's choosing to initiate yourself And and so in the area of your relationships, in how you see yourself, how you relate to your own aesthetics, your beauty, your sex, your sexual energy, your sensual energy, your creative energy, Venus rules over art. So artists, creatives, this is all like a lot of what's very, very common during Venus retrogrades is people, past lovers come back into our life. Because they're showing and they're there for us to reflect upon, ooh, what did I used to value? How did I used to relate? What did I like about that? Do I still value that? Do I still appreciate this? Is that something that I want to keep with me and take with me into the future? Or am I recognizing I don't value that anymore? That's something that isn't serving who I am, right? And who I'm choosing to be moving forward. And so a lot of times, like, we start, old lovers come back, or we revisit, and because it's in the sign of Capricorn, right? Like, there's a whole other flavor, right? Where it's Capricorn rules over business. A lot of times. So we're also looking at people that we used to do business with, different businesses that we used to be in. And we're looking at relationships and reevaluate. It's like, is this relationship something that I can build upon? Or is this something that is shaky? Like, this is about getting serious. This is a time to get serious about what you love. If you're not serious about it, what the fuck are you doing with this person? And I say that because it is serious. Remember, this is about what to do when the shit hits the fan. Is this somebody that I can build a legacy with? Because if it's not, it has to go. If I can't trust this, if this is not in integrity with my soul, with who I came here to be, with the legacy that I'm here to leave this planet, in the time that we are alive right now, where the stakes are really high, then with love, it's like, remember, this Venus in Capricorn wants to climb the highest mountain. She wants success. She wants to leave a legacy. And when we climb the mountain, right, it's the more baggage that you're carrying, it gets really, really hard to climb the mountain. Because there's a lot more things that can throw you off balance, and it's heavier. So this very first part of the Venus retrograde is so, so important because it's about releasing. It's like, what can we release? What can we let go of? So that when it's time to ascend again, right? It's like we can do it in a way of not overextending ourselves, right? And taking what is going to last, So this and something that I want to stress, and I'm going to say it over again and again, is that this Capricorn energy is it's just as much about going down, right, and anchoring down just as much as it is about the ascension. And the harder time that you have with going down, it's like so much about our ability to serve our people and to serve larger and larger amounts of people, having that bandwidth, right, is about being able to feel everything. Being able to make space for everything. When we clear out, right, it's like the more that we clear out, it opens us up to make space and to receive more. So many times we want more, right? And it's like, we want to serve more. We want to, have more. We want to, call in greater numbers of wealth. We want to call in more love. We want to call in more vitality. But if we've got stuff in the way, if we've got memories and trauma and, and all of these things, it's like that's actually taking up our bandwidth. It's taking up our space. So we have to be willing to go in there and feel all of it and to accept all of it. Part of, also Capricorn energy, a lot of the shadowy aspects of Capricorn, is it's like this being able to be alone without isolating yourself. That's one of the shadows, is like Capricorn energy can become so strong. I can do it alone. Don't worry about me. I've got it, right? And the funny thing about Capricorn, the shadows of that, is like, it's like, because you're more in control. The more alone that you are, the more in mastery you can be of yourself. But once you start adding other people to the mix, it's like, well, it's kind of harder to control my environment now because there's other things, I don't have control over. The truth is, like, you only have control of you, right? So, but that can be part of the shadows of Capricorn that can come up, is like dealing with, of letting people back in your life, trusting other people again after you've been betrayed, being so good at your taking care of yourself and being dependent and being alone, but then you lose touch. This kind of goes a little bit into the Aquarian energy too, where it's like, but then it's like you go up the mountain, but now it's like, the whole reason we go up the mountain, right, is to connect with God. We're climbing up the mountain to get that bird's eye view, to connect with the highest of the high. But what's the point of climbing up the mountain and receiving all of the blessings if then you can't share it with people? If you've lost touch with your humor, right? If you take yourself too seriously, that then it's like you forget to, you lose touch with the reason that you went up there in the first place, and so themes of isolation and being too hard on yourself and not letting others back in, right? Like having way, way, way too high boundaries, right? Where it's like, it's the expression of the metaphor of building the garden with the really, really high castle walls so that now nobody else can get back in. It's like the walls around the heart. When you raise your standards, that process of, well, I'm going to raise my standards. I want more for myself, but now my standards are so high that, it's like you isolate yourself in the process. So these are some of the shadows and themes. Hello, what is up, Kristen? Kristen's in the house. Hello, Wayne. Hello, Crystal. Kiran. So these are some of the things that, another thing, right, is because Capricorn energy is all about business, right? And it's like so many things can get out of balance in your life when you're focused so much on business, but then you don't have a family, right? Or your personal relationships, suffer, or your health suffers, right? And so it's looking at all of those different ways, right? Where you can get way too much into business that the other areas of your life suffer, right? And so these are all of the things that, are coming back up to the surface for us to look at. Do you guys have any questions on anything that I shared? Anything resonating? If you guys know your chart, where do you have Capricorn? I'd love to know. Okay, well, I'll give you guys some times to do that. And if you are watching on the replay, let me know in the replay. I'd be more than happy to come back in and, and respond or answer if you have questions about this. I also wanted to share with you guys that MC, oh, your midheaven, is that what your MC is? Oh, so this is like, that's your midheaven. That's like your masterpiece. Wow. Awesome. That's incredible. So that's interesting. So because, all right, I work a lot with whole sign houses. So meaning like Aquarius is actually your 10th house, but your MC is in Capricorn. So that happens sometimes depending upon where we're born in the world. So very, very interesting. So, just starting like to look at, where these energies are highlighting so this Venus retrograde is happening where, so what is that? So that's actually your 9th house, right? But your midheaven. I'd have to see your chart, but yeah, right. Yeah. So it's happening 9th house and 10th house. And there's a lot of different ways that, you go much deeper into that, looking at like, where's your Saturn? Because that's the ruler of your midheaven. So where you have Saturn is also going to be, another way of, looking at the masterpiece that you're here to create, the service that you're here to bring to the world. So, all right, so what I wanted to share with you guys, if this is something that's resonating for you, if you're looking to invest in yourself, if you want to tap deeper into grounding your purpose, meaning bringing in these higher visions, bringing in the life and getting crystal clear on your service and on your art and changing, and also, so part of like, so the Mercury retrograde in the Star Disco brand, the next round of Star Disco that we're doing is highlighted around and focused around the Mercury retrograde that is happening in the sign of Aquarius. So this is the third thing that I'm so glad that Saturn is in Virgo in the 6th. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so I mean, that's like a double symbolism there. Virgo is that's health, your daily habits, your daily routines. It's like your lifestyle. That is the daily processes and the relationship that your mind has with your body, the psyche and the soma, how they connect to each other. And it's those processes and those daily habits and rituals that is actually what facilitates the smooth operating of the whole, right? It's one of the houses of money. The 2nd, the 6th, and the 10th house, right, are the earth houses that have to do with, the different areas of how we make money, right? Like our talents and resources, the actual work, the craft that we're doing, and then the career. So very interesting so your two of those areas are really, what's your 2nd house? Your 2nd house is Gemini, right? Yeah, this is the work right now. Okay, so that's very interesting. So to look at that, like especially when we've got like the triangle, you know, that very sacred symbol. It represents the three, right? When we've got two areas being activated, it's like we want to look at where's that empty piece, right? Because it's that third piece that's going to fill in and really create that solid power center, right? To then create the peak. The triangle, right? That sacred shape of the triangle, you know, is that fixed, that pointed energy. And it's like that focus of energy is then what creates influence. It's what creates the overflow of wealth. It's that the solar plexus chakra, where we experience the you know, it's the focus and the will, right? And so you want to look at that third piece and start, you know, so that you're filling in all three of those, because remember, magic always happens on three levels. So what's interesting is that the Mercury retrogrades are happening in, okay, so here's where I wanted to come back full circle. I'm so glad. All right, so in 2022, there are three dates, three significant themes, right, of the year that are really incredibly powerful. They're like the hallmark things that you either one, you know, want to really pay attention to, and two, be aware of and consciously work with them. Okay, the first one is the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And this is, again, right, it's beginning January 6th. This is how we are starting off the year, people, is with, out of the three events, one of those three events, and that's the Mercury retrograde cycle happening in the sign of Aquarius. Why is this important? Okay, the reason this is important is because it is reactivating the Great Conjunction, okay? What is the Great Conjunction? When it comes to socioeconomics, meaning how we do business, the socio, meaning the structure of how we as a society operate with economy, how we operate with money, how we buy and we sell things, how commerce, okay, socioeconomics is dictated by these two planets, Jupiter and Saturn. And they come together every 246 years to initiate a new realm of socioeconomics, okay? So for the past 200 plus years, 240 years, we came out of an earth triplicity, meaning that the way that we've been buying and selling and doing money and all of these different things, the socioeconomics of the world, was based upon earth energy, which is, it's the reason why we had the Industrial Revolution. It's why all of these factories were built. There was so much about product, buying and selling tangible physical items. You know, so many changes and revolutionary changes happened in food, in how we, you know, farm food, and how the land, how, you know, our relationship with the land. And a lot of great things happened and a lot of not so great things happened, right? But also money, right? Money also became very much this very like dollars and gold and physical kind of thing, right? Buying and selling goods, physical, tangible goods, okay? But now what happened this past year was the Great Conjunction. And that began, so it is a new 246 year cycle, and we're moving from earth into air. A lot of people believe that this is actually what the beginning of the Aquarian age, us stepping into, moving into the Aquarian age, is precedented by this the Great Conjunction, okay, the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction in the sign of Aquarius. So the thing with alchemy, right, and how we adapt, how we change, how we evolve from doing business from an earth way of doing business to an air way of doing business, is you have to change elements going from earth into air, okay? Earth does not directly change into air. You either have to go from earth to fire to then to air, or from earth to water into air. Okay, so what we're seeing happen with a lot of people is either they're going the water path or they're going the fire path. Okay, the water path is it's a lot more feminine. You know, it has a lot more to do with feelings and flow and you know, and relationships. You know, it's much softer, it's much cooler, it's much slower. Okay, the fire path is about destruction, fucking burning any obstacle that's in your way. You burn that shit down. It's about, you know, active. It's about passion. It's revolutionary. It's taking a stand. It's saying, I will not fucking stand for the tyranny, for the slavery, for the abuse. Okay? That's the fire path. It's a fucking hell of a lot more dangerous. It's a lot more chaotic. It's a lot more exciting. Okay? So we're seeing some people, you know, like if you tend to be softer, you know, and you don't do well with that fiery energy, right? Like you're going to go over here and you're going to do the water path, and that's cool, right? Ideally, what you want to do is both, right? Doing both, doing the fire and the water, you know, one of the ways the traditional symbols of alchemy is that alembic, right? It's putting yourself into that contained vessel that pressurizes the water and makes the water boil. It's boiling water. And through the process of the boiling water, you get this really, really refined, this is how essential oils are made. This is the process of turning lead into gold, right? It's a lot harder to do. It takes a lot more skill and mastery to do both. But doing both is where you're going to get the best of both, okay? And so anybody who engages, this is what I'm all about. This is alchemy. So anybody who learns how to do both, right, and doing both, that it involves the balance, right, and really having the mastery over the elements, getting to see when you're doing too much fire, when you're doing too much water, where you're not doing enough, integrating the two, you know, all of these different things, and also knowing like what to do when. And this is the value, one of the values of astrology is knowing what to do when. Because when you know what to do when, you're working with nature. You're not working against it. And so one of the things that is so common, right, is 4% of people actually use the information that they come into contact with and actually use it to change their mind, or change their reality, change their life. 4%. Meaning whether that's, you know, being in a program, learning something, reading a book, you know, any sort of information that they have this ability to then, you know, integrate into their body and then actually create lasting change in their life. 4% of people actually do this. And this is one of the reasons, one of the values why I love you know, astrology, is because when you know about what's happening when, there are specific portals. It's like why timing is a thing. It's why timing is so important. It's like harmony and music has so much to do with timing. You come in at the wrong time and the fucking song is going to be off. The rhythm is going to be off, right? So when you, and that's why it's called the music of the spheres, is when you know what is opening when, it's like you enter into a portal. It's a sacred portal that allows you to facilitate that change so much better than if you're doing it at other times. And it's not to say that you can't do it whenever, right? But this is what happens. This is what's so common, is we see this in all of the heroes' journeys, okay? It's the hero's journey. It's the heroine's journey. You see this in all of the books. You see this in all of the great movies that we want, is that the hero is called to an adventure. There's an invitation to do something a little bit scary or a lot of bit scary, something out of your comfort zone, something where you're just like, I don't fucking know how I'm going to make this happen, okay? But it's the way that the whole purpose of that whole scenario, right, is so much of that dynamic, right, is in choosing to do it, you learn how to do it. That's why decision and choice is everything, right? But this is what happens, is that the hero is called to the adventure and they refuse the call. It's like they see the glimpse, the portal opens, and then something, something happens, and they go back. They go back into the safety of the comfort zone. They go back into the pattern. This is why only 4% of people actually make lasting change in their life. This is why there's mass mediocrity in the world. This is why so many people aren't living their passion, aren't living their wildest dreams. I am here to fucking change that narrative. It's the reason why there's only, like, quote unquote, the 4% of people that are controlling the world, because they know the occult. The reason why it's called the occult is because it's hidden. It has been hidden from the masses. I am here to fucking remind us of the occult, to reawaken us to these sacred mysteries, so that it's not just the 4% anymore. So part of these mysteries are, it's hidden in plain sight. These mysteries are fucking hidden in plain sight. It's happening in nature if we watch it. So what happens again, right, is that call to adventure is there. And a lot of times what happens is it will come back again. We'll get it like a second opportunity. You see this in all of the movies where it's like where the hero gets another chance. And sometimes the hero, you know what I mean? Like when we're watching the movie, when it's like, oh yeah, let's, you know what I mean? And it's a movie worth fucking watching. The hero takes the fucking call. That's why we watch the movie. Is because they say yes to the call. If it's a movie that's not worth watching, the hero doesn't take it. They go back into the status quo, and they go back into the mediocrity, and they go back asleep. If you want your life to be a movie worth watching, and I'm not saying about, it has to be what everybody else wants to watch. That's not what I'm saying. Is your movie worth watching? When you are aware of these cycles, it's like, boom, it's time to do it. It's time to go. And so here's the thing, right, is life is about change. There's always something that's changing. There's always, like a season of something, right? But what a lot of people do is they just stay with the stuff that they're good at, right? It's like, there's always something in bloom if we're paying attention. There's always something for us to engage with and to experience vitality in our life, right? And so it's kind of like with gardening, right? There's always a plant if we know, right, that we can harvest at this time. There's always a time to pick the fruit. But what a lot of people do is they're trying to pick fruit over here when it's not the time for that. And this is what the essence of magic is about. Magic in the Gayat al-Hakim, which is one of the premier astrological sacred texts, the Picatrix, is the goal of the wise. It's about being well-versed in every single sphere of life so that you pick the fruit when it's ready. and you are cultivating the other fruits, and you're aware of all of the different seasons, and through that we live in harmony with life. Okay, and we're able to, and so part of what I have been learning, and I mean, I've gotten to this point now in my life where I don't have to look it up in my computer or even like that. Like, I just know when Mercury retrograde cycles are happening because I can feel it now in my body. I can see the shifts in my life. I can see it in my relationships, and I'm paying attention, and I'm familiar with it. And so when these things happened, I'm not caught off guard. Or even when something does happen that I wasn't aware of that can, potentially radically destabilize me, I'm prepared because I'm like, I know, even the things that we know are coming, sometimes, it's like even though it's coming, it's still, it still can be a challenge for you. But so this is one of the other benefits of my work with astrological magic is knowing the timing, knowing, oh, this is the portal, this is the time. And so not only is it about like being prepared, digging your well before you're thirsty, but now you're in alignment, you're in alignment, you're doing things that are meant to be done now. And because of that, it's so much easier to facilitate the change because it's a rite of passage. This is something that I feel is so lost in our culture, are these sacred rites of passages, right? Like, we don't have so much. I mean, in the Jewish community, they have the bar mitzvahs and the bat mitzvahs. We kind of still have the little sweet 16s, but it's not really the same thing. It's like, those are the only freaking rites of passage. Maybe a wedding, like that's about it. There's so many other rites of passages that were traditional in ancient cultures and that actually are in alignment with the planetary cycles, that when we reawaken and remember, we get to live life as a fucking ceremony. There's so much to celebrate. We can celebrate these crises that happen in our life because we know that on the other side of that, should we choose to heed the call, we get to gain incredible wisdom and gain incredible gifts and talents on the other side and reclaim aspects of our soul that we have forgotten. And then we get to share those blessings. We get to be the lighthouse for other people that are going through the same darknesses, that they don't know how to lead themselves through, that they need a lighthouse. We get to be that lighthouse. So I took a bunch of notes of the things I wanted to share with you guys. Do you guys have any questions on this? Oh yeah, here was the thing, right? So coming back to what I spoke about at the very beginning of this, right? Is how good are you with failure? How do you adapt when it's time to go down, when it's time to surrender deeper, to trust deeper? Because here's the thing, if you're not falling down and making mistakes every once in a while, or experiencing failure, are you playing it too safe? Chances are, if you've got everything under control and you're not experiencing failure from time to time, you're not making your goals, you're not falling down, chances are you're playing it too safe. And I even beg to ask you, are you even in the game? Or are you sitting on the sidelines watching everybody else? Are you sitting back and observing everybody else and you're not actually getting on stage? You're not shining your light fucking bright like a lighthouse when the world fucking needs it now. Your voice matters. You have no idea how just you showing up, there's somebody else watching you. That just by you choosing to show up in your beauty, to share your message, to share your gifts, that is serving somebody else. We didn't come here to be isolated and alone and to live as islands. We came here to shine our love lights, and each and every one of us has a fucking sacred person, has a sacred mission and a light that nobody else has. Nobody will shine the light the way that you do. There is a hole in the world that you are meant to fill. And right now, in the fucking massive storm that we're having, we need your light on. And we need it fucking bigger than before. This isn't a fucking joke. This isn't a fucking joke, people. Our children are fucking being forced to do things, wearing masks, there's women that are being bought in exchange, like are being bought and sold as in exchange for animals on this fucking planet. In this day and age, there are women that are being bought in exchange as fucking cattle. And it's hard. Trust me, I get it. We're so fucking, there's so many blessings that we have where it's like, because we're not seeing it, it's like out of sight, out of mind. But we're all connected. We are only as strong as our weakest link. And I see this, like one way that you can really, really see this is in the family unit. If you look at your family unit, look at the fucking weakest person in your unit. You are only as strong as your weakest link. And I invite you to look at that, not just in your family, look at that in your body, in all realms of your life, in your chart, in all the different aspects of your chart. And then I want you to look at that in our world. That we are only as strong as our weakest link right now. There are children that are being fucking sold as sex slaves on this fucking planet. What are you fucking doing about that? And yes, there is a purpose to every single one of our challenges. There's gifts that we get through our horrors. It's all divine. There is, but to not do anything about it once you're aware of it. And this is why so many of us choose not to see our greatness. Because once you see something, you cannot unsee it. You're now responsible for this. And this means choosing to see the atrocities, as well as choosing to see the potential, choosing to see the greatest potential that we have. Either way, you're responsible for it. But this is why so many people don't want to see it. And what's very common is for people to wait till the fucking last minute They wait till they cannot afford to do the thing that they thought they couldn't afford. That is one of the worst qualities of human nature is to wait till something is so fucking bad that now it's like I have no choice but to do it. We ignore the call. You ignore the call. How much further along in your life would you be if you did not ignore the calls? How much further in your life would you be if all of those things that you said you wanted, that you wrote down in your journal, or that you put on your vision board, if you fucking full on committed long game, how much further in your life would you be? Hey, Natalie. Preach, preach. What's up, Jimmy Ninja Chai Kong's in the house. Y'all definitely have to go and check out his world-class fight cast. Jimmy, let's put a link here in the comments to our last episode. Volten! 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 Ooh. Okay, so I wanted to share with you guys, these are one of my talismanic sacred adornments. These are Jupiter talismans for Jupiter and Pisces. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Full circle, yeah. Okay. All right, so I wanted to share with you guys. So I spoke about why the Mercury retrograde that's happening in January is so important, right? It's the next 240-year socioeconomic change that we're happening. This Mercury retrograde is reactivating that great conjunction. And so what this is giving us collectively, should we heed the call, is the ability to adapt to moving from the earth to the air triplicity, meaning doing business in a different way. Mercury is the rainbow bridge, okay? Mercury is the planet, rules over the throat chakra, self-expression, your voice, buying and selling things, sales. You want to be a better salesman? You want to be better at marketing? You want to, self-express yourself? You want to have a voice in a bigger way? You want to master or learn about alchemy and healing and magic? Mercury is the planet that rules all of these things. He is the rainbow bridge that bridges heaven to earth. When you start working with the mysteries of the sacred mysteries of the Mercury retrograde cycle, this is the alchemical cycle of Mercury. So many people, they hear about Mercury retrograde and it's just like this mass marketed fucking bullshit because it's a cult. Astrology is a cult. There's like, it's just slow down and check your contracts and, and all this shit. Yes, that's a part of it. That's not the fucking real magic. It is one of the, okay, so let me explain to you why Mercury is so important. Another reason. Your personality is what makes up your personal reality. Your personality, who you say that you are, who that you think that you are, your behaviors, are composed of three things. That makes up your personal reality. What you're experiencing in your life, your reality, is because of your personality, okay? Your personality is composed of three things. Your mind, how you think, how you communicate, how you express yourself. What you love, your relationships, how you relate to others, the relationships that you have in your life, what you value, and how you take action. The actual things that you choose to commit to and take action on, that makes up your personality. Mercury Venus, and Mars. These three planets are what are called the personal planets in astrology. They're the closest to us on Earth. These planets all have their own retrograde cycles almost every year. Mercury has his 3 times a year. Venus has hers, which we're about to go into right now, every 18 months. And Mars has his every 2 years or so. His cycle is a little bit more erratic, okay? Every time that these planets undergo their retrograde cycle is a portal of initiation, a rite of passage, an opportunity for you to change your reality like never before, should you heed the call. So, which is why I am so passionate about working with the retrograde cycles. They are my specialty because these personal planets are really influential to us. The bigger planets, Jupiter, Saturn, even Uranus, these are transpersonal. They don't, their energy, if you don't get the personal planets right, those energies have even much harder time actually coming into Earth, essentially. You've got to get the personality, those things have to get operating cleanly and smoothly and cleared out as spheres of energy before those other things the big fucking love, the big vision, those things can't even fucking filter through. So what's happening right now and within in the Star Disco brand is Unicorn Legacy. Okay, this is one of my signature programs, the Mercury retrograde cycle, but this time we're doing it different. It fucking came in and morphed because Venus is retrograde. So not only are we doing the Mercury retrograde cycle, we're also doing Venus right now. So Unicorn Legacy is for the artists, the empaths, the healers, the visionaries that want to bring down their highest visions, that want to bring down and get crystal fucking clarity on their soul purpose, bring that down and be able to start making money doing their passion. Start building a business that equals prosperity, to eradicate the fucking starving artist's fucking lie, to transform your relationships, your relationship to your body and your worthiness. So like as a tagline, right, it's sensitive. If you find that, maybe you struggle with the witch wound, meaning that you find it challenging to you have fears, right, of being too big, of being too beautiful, of stepping into the spotlight because, what is somebody else going to say? Or you have other people in your life that you feel are holding you back. You're afraid of rocking the boat. You are a people pleaser, right? You're afraid of triggering people, and or maybe you do, right? Maybe you've actually taken that step where you've started choosing to make your love and your vision and your goals a fucking non-negotiable, but in that process, you are experiencing tons of losing friendships and aloneness, and you're finding it becoming isolated and alone. And so in that process, it's like, well, what's the fucking point? In order for us to experience prosperity, right, it is built upon the relationships that we have in our life. Business is about relationships. It's about knowing, it's having a skill that you can put out into the marketplace that is of value to other people. And so many people, they don't know themselves. So this aspect of self-mastery is so important right now. And so this is what Unicorn Legacy is for. It's working specifically with the Mercury retrograde cycle so that you can adapt to the new 240-year socioeconomic change that is happening in our world, so that you can revolutionize your love and your relationships, so that you can start having relationships in your life that are in alignment with who you are becoming, having prosperous relationships for your business, for your love life. So it's astro magic and fitness for sexy witches. So one of the ways that I know how I mean, I don't even have to fucking try. And people that work with me, they start becoming so much more creative. They start becoming flooded with creative ideas, and or they start having like tons of fucking sex. And that's because creative energy is sexual energy. It's all about how you want to use it. If you want to use it to fucking, have amazing sex and, and rekindle your feminine flame and the fire and the passion in your relationships, great. That's a fucking given. I just fucking have to show up and that's going to happen. You can also use that energy and channel it into other areas of your life. You can channel it into your art. You can channel it into your passion, into your business, into your body, whatever you want to use it for. But this is one way that is a given, that I guarantee that you will get people. I have saved marriages on the brink of death. I don't, more times than I can fucking count, mine included, which is the reason why I'm able to walk people, through these processes. So relationships on the brink of death, your health, that's a whole other area that you will start opening up places that you have blockages in your life. And through opening up the places that you have blockages in your life, your body is naturally going to start healing. That is actually my background. I'm a doctor of Oriental medicine and an acupuncture physician. I'm also a singer and an athlete, and and I'm a magician. Remember, for those of you who are new, I definitely highly recommend watching this from the beginning. A magician is about becoming well-versed in every single area of your life. The Renaissance, the rebirth, right? That happens when all of the different spheres of our life, of the tree of life in the Kabbalah, when all of those areas become clear and operating well, we don't have leaks of energy, right? And here's the thing, right, is you want to get rid of your leaks, meaning your weak points. You want to plug up those leaks, heal up those leaks, but then also the places where we're really gifted, where you have talents, where you have strength, you don't want to just lean on those, meaning where it's like, I'm good enough. So it's like you don't ever really take your talent to the next level because it's just good enough. You want to fucking live those out to the fucking highest potential, because when you do that, what happens is those areas become a place of overflow. And that overflow then starts trickling into the other places. So that the other places that were once weaknesses, it's like you want to get the weeds, you want to plug the leaks, and and make those other areas independent and strong on their own. But then when you really start focusing and mastering the places where you have natural talent and ability, those will start boiling over and overflowing over into the weak areas, so that then those weak areas become your source of greatest strength. This is the goal. This is what self-mastery is about. And this is what you do with astro magic. With astro magic, you can easily diagnose, where are these in my chart? If this is something that you're interested in, reach out to me. We begin January 6th. We have already begun. There's pre-work. There's an intention application that you're required to fill out in order to join. And it's a gift and a service unto itself. I have people that fill this out and they're like, oh my God, just filling this out, I gained so much clarity about myself that I didn't have before. Okay, so tomorrow, right now, the price is $1,111. There is a payment plan, and I have a very special pop-up payment plan that is good until midnight tomorrow. So Friday at midnight, the price is going up to $13.97, and that pop-up payment plan is going to be taken down. And there's also a special sign-up bonus. You will get a special gift from me, a special talismanic sacred adornment as a sign-up bonus, a Mercury talisman that has brought me some of the best gifts in my life for business and healing. And it's called from the Prophetess collection. It's Mercury in Exaltation in Virgo. Okay, so the pop-up payment plan is 6 payments of $222. That's a special pop-up payment plan. I have another payment plan that you end up saving more money if you do that one, in the long term. But if you're like, all right, look, this is the minimum that I can pay, that special pop-up payment plan is only going to be available till Friday at midnight, and then the price goes up to $13.97. This is 40 days and 40 fantastical fucking nights of magic and alchemy and fitness and astro magic. It is fucking amazing. I have tons of testimonials. If you guys want to speak to any of the alumni, I'm more than happy to refer you to them, or send you these testimonials. If you have questions, just reach out to me. I also have a private Facebook group where I have been doing a lot of free master classes that right now, if you join, you can have access to before they're taken down. And they're going to be going as bonus modules inside of Unicorn Legacy. So I have a special masterclass that is all upon unicorn energetics for healing the witch wound. So it's for healing trauma, childhood trauma, and how unicorn energetics is the antidote to the witch wound. I have making money with Mercury magic, and I show you how I went from charging $90 for one-off sessions to now I charge $9,000 for my pay in full package for one-on-one work with me. And also how I raised my, I have Talismanic ritual goods. I have a website that I just built that I raised my revenue by 900%. Not once, not twice, but 3 times I have done. And I did that in 3 days. So not only did I do it once, I did it 3 times. And so in 900%, I raised my revenue. I had my website running before for 2 years. I made more money in this one day through these processes that I share with you in the masterclass, and that we're going very, very, very deep into in Unicorn Legacy in the masterclass in my group, the Mother Loveship. So, do I have another masterclass? I have a whole other masterclass on the sacred Venus retrograde, the V-star in Capricorn. And again, all of these are going to be taken down very soon because they're going as bonus modules, or I'll sell them as standalone courses on my website, which, by the way, is everything on my website: my pre-recorded content, my talismanic ritual goods. Let me show you some of these. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So these are all talismanic. These are ensouled objects. This is also what you will learn and begin to start doing inside of the Star Disco brand, is learning how to channel down the light, the stellar fire, the celestial fire, these power sources from the star systems, from the planets, from the stars, from the decans, from the fixed stars, and bring them down here onto Earth. And you can ensoul objects, whether it's, candles, whether it's art. I do it in jewelry, and that's what Jimmy was talking about earlier. So these are Jupiter talisman earrings for Jupiter in Pisces. Ooh, circling back. So that is the second event, by the way, that is one of the hallmark events. So the first one is the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, reactivating the Great Conjunction, okay? The second one is the Venus retrograde happening in, and these are both happening concurrently at the same time in the sign of Capricorn, with Mars and with Pluto. It's going to be fucking epic. And then the third one is Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Okay? Jupiter is the planet of, especially in Pisces, of grace and of compassion and of healing and of art and of gifts and abundance. Okay, this is really what we want to be focused on in 2022 amidst all of the change, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that's happening in 2022. You want to stay focused on, Jupiter being, as one of the planets in our solar system. What Jupiter actually does is protects the Earth. Its force field is so big that it absorbs and moves away other asteroids and meteors and things like that that are always, there's an amazing show. I forget what the name of it is, but it talks about like how our planet is so, like, if Jupiter was not there, our planet would be destroyed like pretty much almost on an everyday basis by how much things are like always in the cosmos, right? But that Jupiter acts as this force field of protection for our planet. So Jupiter actually does this as above, so below, as within, so without. Jupiter bestows its gifts and its abundance and its protection and its benevolence upon us as well. So I'm going to be doing another course, by the way, on an astro magic course specifically for Jupiter in Pisces. So if you want to get in on that, reach out to me. For the year, okay, so this is one of the special bonuses that I am offering right now. If you're like, Steph, I just want to go all the way fucking in. Like, I want to work with you and commit to working with you for the year in the Star Disco brand. Right now, what I'm doing is you can work with me for the year and go through every single Star Disco brand program, group coaching programs that I have for the entire year, which includes all of the Mercury retrogrades. So every year it happens 3 times. So this past year I did it 3 times. The year before that I did it 3 times. It happens in the sign of Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra this year. So you get all 3 of those. Just that in and of itself is valued at over $5,000. Okay, and in addition to that, we're doing the Venus retrograde. I'm going to be doing Jupiter in Pisces. I'm also going to be doing, oh, and by the way, Unicorn Legacy, we're also covering Saturn, by the way, which is super important. So I do all of these throughout the year. So if you want to work with the Star Disco brand throughout the year, say, I want to do this for the whole year. I am all fucking in. 300 or 3,000, 3333. And there's payment plans. There's a couple different payment plans for that. So if you want to commit in a bigger way to working with me in 2022 for the year, going through all of the programs in the Star Disco brand for 3333 is a fucking insane no-brainer. Like, it's already valued at over $5,000 and you get it for 3330. And that's not even including the other programs. So because it's the 3 Mercury retrogrades, Jupiter in Pisces, Venus retrograde, Saturn, and the other ones that I just randomly do throughout the year because that's what I do. And also, you're also going to get access to, but I just chose to add it right now, group ritual services. So what I also do throughout the year when a planet is in its sign of power is I usually only offer this to my one-on-one clients, where I hold ceremony for you. I petition the planets for you, and hold group ceremony and ritual for you. I do that throughout the year. So you will also get access to all of those throughout the year for $33.33. It is a fucking insane no-brainer, and there's several payment plans available on that. So if that's something that you want to do, reach out to me. Unicorn Legacy, you have that deal until Friday. The pop-up payment plan, and also the sign-up bonus offer. And let's see, was there anything else? Oh yeah, everything on my website is 50% off. Pre-recorded courses, talismanic ritual pleasures, ritual goods. It's 50% off. It is incredible, and I'm still off, and that is ending on the 17th. So when you go on my website, all of the prices that you see reflected on there are the regular price. When you add it to your cart, and you go to checkout, it will automatically get adjusted at the checkout. You automatically will get 50% off. So for example, if you see something and it says it's $50, just know that it's 50% off. That when you actually go to checkout, if you put something in there that was $50, it will be $25. You know, if it's a ritual item, you know, such as these incredible Jupiter candles that I have, by the way. These are Jupiter and Pisces on Fomalhaut. These are fucking magical and amazing. I'm so excited for Jupiter in Pisces. I'm going to do more items very soon. I'm going to do more. We'll see what happens. It's, you know, yeah. So that, you know, you'll pay shipping and handling as well. So let's see what else. Oh yeah, so that is until December 17th, that all of that is 50% off. I've just uploaded more of talismans like these. These are really beautiful. This is a Venus talisman. So this actually houses the spirit of Venus. This is Venus in Pisces, this one that I'm wearing here. Perfumes are going to be offered, and I'm also going to be doing another, these are going to be very limited, where I do custom perfumes based upon your chart. So custom botanical perfumes. I've done these for people's weddings. I've done these for people's brands, for their businesses where they want a signature scent for their brand or for their business. You know, I've just done it for people just because they want it. I'm going to be offering that as a service. It's a 3-month process. So it's something that, you know, it takes a long time, because it's, you know, it takes time for when you start mixing fragrances together, essential oils and absolutes and things like this, it takes time for the alchemy, right? The alchemical process of those. Just like when two people get married together, it's like, it takes time for you to start seeing the truth, the real truth about the other person. And when you're engaged in that person's energy all of the time, you change each other. Your fragrance is going to change, the fragrance of love, because in anytime we have two things that come together, there's always a third element. That's the nature of magic, right? There's always the energy of the relationship itself. So with alchemy, and the same thing with when I create custom botanical fragrances and perfumes, it takes time in order for when I'm blending these perfumes together to be able to tell what they're going to smell like. So this is a 3-month process. So I'm going to be having limited spaces available for this. It's going to be a great, actually perfect thing for the Venus retrograde happening, by the way. If you want to, you know, give a gift to yourself to really consecrate the retrograde happening in the sign of Capricorn, this would be a great thing to do, to have that process of, you know, of becoming more intimate with what you love. I've had people tell me that it's better than Match.com. Fucking legit. Like, I fucking have testimonials where people are like, this is fucking better than Match.com, because it's your own essence that you're wearing. So not only is it attuning you to your own essence and frequency, but then you're emanating that, and other people then get to, you know, engage and smell with that in a bigger way via fragrance, you know? So I'm going to be adding that to the site very soon. Oh, and I wanted to do a card. So before I get off, thank you. There was, I wanted to do a card pull, and this is from this deck that I really, really love. It's called the Kitsune. And this is the Foxfire Oracle. So I love this because it has this blend of Asian, look, this is the Asian influence but it's also the fox energy, and it also harkens back to Atlantis, and it's like a really interesting like blend of energy. So very ancient Asian influence, the fox energy, and Atlantis and Lemuria. So let's pull a card to sum all of this up. Do you guys have any questions? Kristen, I love you too, girl. I'm so stoked that you're in my world now. Lauren, Carrie is in the house. Tony is in the house. What? YouTube pulled your podcast? You and Danny's podcast? Really? Jeez. Can you put the link to our podcast on here? Google Jimmy Ninja Chai-Kong. The World Class Fight Cast. All right, let's see what we're gonna pull for everybody on this live stream with this energy. For everybody who's watching in, and then everybody who is gonna watch this on the replay. By the way, for those of you guys who tuned in, I've been like going for, I don't know, like an hour probably. Watch this from the beginning. I fucking dropped some serious fucking gems about the energy that we're in right now, and you know what this is actually a portal for. Ooh! I fucking told you. I was not fucking lying. The Sentinel. This is why I am not, I mean, don't get me wrong. I fucking love love and light. I love love and light. I love all of the good stuff. I love all of the beauty. I love all of the magic, right? But shadow dancing, working with the shadows, right? Like that is what brings true depth into our life. That is actually what allows us to release light codes and hidden talents and resources that we never realized that we had, is only through having the courage to walk ourselves through the darkness. And I'm just fucking, like, I told you guys this at the beginning, so you can't fucking make this shit up. Within the world you dwell in, a storm is brewing. It is visible to many so far, and most are completely unaware of its approach. They no longer notice the fall and rise of the air about them. Remember, I was just talking about this. It's like, I can feel the cycles in my skin. I feel it in the air. I don't have to be on my computer. It's because I have worked so deeply, and I will continue to till I die, so deeply within my body, in an experiment, in an experiential way, and in a experimental way. It's an embodiment where it's like I'm not just learning about it, it's like I'm living it. So they no longer notice the fall and rise of the air about them, the tightening of the pressure, or the release of rain, for they dwell within their glass towers and no longer feel a part of the elements and the dance between them. But you do, seeker, and you are aware that there is a force gathering. What its outcome will be, I'm getting all the fucking chill bumps right now. How it will break and what it will do are still mysteries, but you can prepare for the storm approaching. Others will not listen. Others will see you as negative or fearful when you inform them of what it is you're preparing for. Regardless, prepare anyway. Dig your well before you're thirsty. Watch and take care of what it is you need to do. This is nothing to be fearful of. It is simply advanced knowledge of a storm. And storms can damage or they can pass by overhead and clear the air. It is wise to prepare. The sentinel of the skies, this dragon being, has come to you. I'm getting all the chills right now. And you're invited now to see things from his magical perspective, to go high above the buildings and the everyday, and see the implications of the change that is coming. This gift of foresight, the prophetess from the friends of the Kitsune will see you well prepared for the gathering storm and will give you foresight and enable you to look out for those who will listen. Make wise choices, preserve, take care, observe, repair, and prepare, and consider what you will do to be sure you are cared for in the future. Know that when the storm passes, for they all will, you will be standing strong and able to help others if necessary and continue with your life. You're being watched over. The sentinel will stand with you always. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to be dropping all of the links here below in the comments so that you can either sign up for Unicorn Legacy, come join the Mother Lovership. I will be dropping the link to join me for the year for the Star Disco brand, doing the full I'm all the way fucking in for the Star Disco brand. And then also to my website, if you want to go on there, you're welcome, beautiful. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you for being in my world. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for doing the things. I love you. Mwah! Bye.